Hey y'all, thought I'd hop on. It has been quite an eventful past few weeks. Thought I'd share it with you. I'm currently in a small town outside of Sedona, Arizona, at this random woman's house that I just got a Reiki massage from. Um, Elle is currently in there getting a massage. Mine just finished. Um, that sounds very random, and that's just what happens, I guess, when you're open to what life presents for you. A little more background into that, it's beginning of the year. It's currently January 6th, 2025. And a few weeks ago, Elle and I left Austin to travel to see family for the holidays. Went to Florida, her place, and my parents thankfully flew down, got to meet them, and it was a great time there. And yeah, as we were kind of flying there, we kind of realized there's something else that we should be doing. We didn't know what it was, and I just kind of randomly went to a website of this guy I've been following for quite a while on social media called Bashar, Daryl Unka, real name. And it seemed like he was hosting an event in Sedona. And so we had the kind of the bright idea to midway through a trip, change it up and leave Florida a day early and extend the trip to spend some time in Sedona. And so we flew to Vegas, grabbed the parents' car, let us borrow, and drove a few hours to Sedona. And came there for an event that Bashar would be speaking at called the Channel Panel. And I know how crazy this sounds, but I'm at peace knowing that people just aren't going to understand what I say. But the Channel Panel is an event, it's a conference for all the top channelers in the world to come together and to channel on stage, and to allow whoever wants to hear it, whoever feels right to come to that event to hear what they're saying. And what a channeler is, for those that aren't really into that very odd realm of spirituality, a channeler is someone who has the gift, has the ability to, if you want to call it, communicate, or even better, to be utilized as a tool, instrument, vessel for a higher density being, also called extraterrestrial, also called alien, to utilize their body temporarily, to take it over, and then to talk to people, human beings, through that person's body. I'm going to take a big sip of water. I'm thirsty, and I think I need some time. I need y'all some time to comprehend that. I didn't even believe in aliens a few years ago, and now I'm at a conference where people literally can temporarily volunteer their vessel, their body, as they sit on a chair in front of a stage, in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people, and allow that alien to talk through them, to communicate through them. And again, I didn't really believe in aliens a few years ago, but there's just things that happen in your life that make you understand that there's so much more to this world than what we've been shown or what we've been allowed to see. And oftentimes the very exact thing they tell you not to believe, the exact things that are conspiracies, the exact things that would certify someone as crazy, it's actually the right thing, and there's a reason why they've been stopping you from understanding these concepts. Because if you understand aliens exist, if you understand there are other worlds out there bigger than ourselves, that there are potentially more advanced beings out there that are guiding us, that are willing to guide us, that have actually made contact with humans before, that would cause people to think and to feel, and to not just be sedated and numbed, to be worked like a slave, to be in a constant state of sedation, numbness, and be working for whatever big corporation they want to work with, or whatever nameless government entity it is, and just there are certain topics that will question, okay, how can I say this? There are certain topics that when it comes across someone's mind and they begin to be open to questioning the reality, they can no longer be a cog in a machine. That's what I'm trying to say. And so one of those things that I've discovered, not trying to convince anyone on here, but I have discovered that is true, is aliens. There are a lot more extraterrestrial beings outside of this world that exist that not only exist, but want to help us, humanity, in a very unique period of time. And so a lot of what you believe of like the green people, the gray people, like the weird kind of deformed body, somewhat looking like a human, but also not at all, the far majority that exists, the far majority of what the movies are about, everything exists. This is the one part they get it wrong, though. For the longest time, they told us he believes in aliens, he's crazy, whatever it is, right? And that was the messaging for a while across mainstream news networks and stuff like that. Now, the messaging is, okay, yeah, they exist, but we need to be fearful of them because once they come here, they're going to destroy the planet. Just like humans, when we go to a place, we invade it, we pillage everything, whatever it is. So we just assume that if anyone were to come to Earth, just like we do with our countries, that we'll also, have war and destruction, whatever it is. But that's not the case at all. Without getting too much into the weeds of it, basically those people, those beings that have lived in other parts of the galaxy, of the universe, they've all developed it at different paces and rates than we have. And so a lot of them are a lot more technologically advanced than we are, and simultaneously a lot more enlightened than we are. They have a deeper understanding of how the universe works. They're more of light. And therefore, someone to be more of light, it also entails for them to understand how the universe actually works and seeing the facade and fear and hatred and war and all these other things. So these beings, I understand there's a lot of foreign concepts being said right now, but stick with me here. These beings are higher density beings. They're participating not in 3D, but the 4D, 5D, 60, 70, 90, and beyond. And they are capable of manipulating time, manipulating transportation, manipulating everything that we have taken as physics, the laws that we abide by on this planet of how things work. Those don't either apply to them and definitely don't apply to their Earth, their world, where they come from. Long story short, Earth is on a very pivotal time at the moment. If you haven't noticed, shit's crazy. Shit's popping off right now. And it's been a build-up to the moment that's coming in the next handful of years in which society's already kind of chosen that it's going to, not society, excuse me, planet Earth itself is going to raise its vibration rapidly. It's going to transcend to a different dimension. And people have a choice whether they want to raise with it or not. That's what the new Earth is. That's what has been known for the longest time, and we've been told to fear. That's why I've said, oh, it's the rapture. It's all the... It's the Earth going to a new vibration. And those humans and other beings, well, most other beings are already enlightened and already at that vibration, but human beings, part of the creation of this simulation, this video game, is for them to understand and remember how to realign their vibration with Mother Nature, with planet Earth, so that when the universe, or the Earth, transcends to another density or dimension, a lighter dimension, those that are of the same energetic vibrational match will stay with it. And those that aren't will not. They'll die. And because how the universe works, they'll be reborn onto a different planet that represents their current vibration. So if they have a vibration that is made up of hatred, of resentment, of guilt, of shame, of war, they will spawn to a world that is in alignment with that. But if they rise to the occasion that is happening in this very pivotal time in the human experience, they will rise with the Earth. And so a lot of higher density beings are realizing this is a very unique phenomenon going on planet Earth. This itself was an entire experiment. It's only a test tube in one lab of what is the entire universe. It really doesn't mean that much, but simultaneously, it also will have ripple effects if not taken seriously, and if we don't embody the true significance our world has, or planet Earth has, in the grand scheme of things. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but it's simultaneously just a small speck of sand in the universe and also very significant. It will have ripple effects in comparison to how our planet Earth and how the humans upon it vibrate as it shifts in years coming soon, or dimensions coming soon. So a lot of aliens come down and help guide us humans to realignment, to enlightenment, so that we can match a vibration that reaches what planet Earth is currently going through. And so these channelers have a time where they're just sitting down and they invite that density or that group of people. Oftentimes it's a council of higher density beings that have been overseeing our Earth ever since its beginning. And these are all knowing, all loving, omnipresent beings. Because they're such a high vibration, they embody so much oneness and love that they don't see war, they don't see that stuff, even though they're well aware it exists. They don't resonate with it, they don't vibrate with it. And so these people have been able to unlock a level of knowledge, of universal intelligence, that when asked upon, they'll answer and they'll help us. And so there's one famous guy on there that I think is kind of the easy entryway for people to understand this. And that's this guy, like I said, he's definitely the most popular guy there. His name is Bashar. He's just a normal human in California who kind of stumbled upon UFO sightings, and then at a bunch of whirlwind destroy. I watched a documentary on the other day. It was wild. But he was able to hone this skill, this gift, if you ever want to call it. It's a little bit of both, of being able to contact this higher density being, so they can mutually agree to come together and speak on stage to these people. And this alien that is channeling through Derlanka, that he has named himself Bashar. They live on a planet where names don't even exist. It doesn't really matter, but he has named it for our monkey minds to understand. He's given himself a name. For 40 years, he's worked through Daryl, and I swear he hasn't even mispronounced, misenunciated any word he's ever spoken, no matter if he speaks for a minute or 4 hours long, throughout the dawn of time. And everything he said aligns with everything I know about the universe, everything that just feels right to me about how this world works, about God, about Jesus, about the Buddha, about how physics works, how life is on different planets, how our galaxy is, about what the sun really is, what other planets are, what black holes, like everything you can think of. I swear to you, it's like the ultimate human encyclopedia. These are legit aliens, like legit aliens that are choosing during this period of time to channel through humans to guide us on this journey. And every message comes back to follow your highest excitement, live life that way as if you are doing things that bring you the most excitement, and unconditionally love yourself and everyone around you. That's pretty much the two things. And so oftentimes at this conference, they'll speak for 20 minutes and they'll be channeling about information they feel as if humans should know. And then they open up for Q&A, and just random people, whether it's just, people who've, tinfoil hats forever and the UFO lovers, or like people that are vibrating very high, about to be at the point where they're about to match the frequency of Earth as it goes into new density, like myself. That was probably about 20% of the people there, and Elle and other people. Those people that have just been drawn to that event for some reason are learning the lessons necessary to embody themselves, along with help others embody, to align ourselves with the natural vibration of Earth, the natural frequency of Earth, so that as it rises, we will too. And how can I put it this way? We all probably know that we're affected when we're around kind of low vibe people. The people that are shame, guilt, anger. You just kind of feel heavy around them. They can't be grateful for anything. They can't complain, whatever it is. We know it's true amongst humans. Imagine this omnipresent, omni-loving being, aliens, and not only one of them, but dozens of them, along with very high vibrational beings, all in one place in Sedona, Arizona, which is a vortex where energy bounces off in the perfect way to kind of create this concoction, this compounding effect of very intense energy, of very high vibrational energy. Sedona is the highest vibrational place in the United States, second to Mount Shasta, and then third Austin, and so on. I'll bring a whole list later about all this stuff because I've downloaded all that. But that feeling there was immensely intense in like the best way possible. So like these aliens that are vibrating at a place that are just unfathomable are coming down, and literally Elle and I couldn't help but to like be detoxing as we're in their presence. There were times where we felt as if we were in a trance of what they were saying. We just like our monkey minds couldn't handle it. But it's like our subconscious mind and our soul, our body, everything else was able to conceive it. And so naturally we just kind of like, and had our ear directly toward the speaker as we like were 80% asleep, kind of subconsciously retrieving the information that they were saying. And it made Elle and I very, very sick. We haven't got sick in a minute. When you're high vibration, you don't get sick. That's just how it works. Low vibration happens. You become sick or ill or dis-ease in the body, disease, when you're low vibration. And so we've been very high vibe for the past year. And so we haven't even gotten a cough despite, not eating the best or what all those other things. Like it's a different ball game now. But this rocked us. We were on our ass. We couldn't see the whole conference. We had to like pick some keynotes to go to, and then we had to go home and just lay down and do nothing because the energy was so intense that it was causing every ounce of our body that isn't aligned with the vibration necessary that was in that room to be cleansed out of our body. TMI, some black shit was coming out. TMI, some stinky, some just weird bodily fluids were just exiting the body. It felt like a legit cleanse. It was like flu-like symptoms, but it was a cleanse. 100%. If part of you is able to be around that energy and your body is ready for it, but not all of it, there's like certain parts that need to release, all the darkness still within, it will remove itself. And let me say it this way. The body is just a representation of what's going on here. So the more guilt, shame, resentment, hate that you have, whatever it is, the more black tar, the more darkness, the more unease, the more aging, everything will happen in your body, right? And so as we are getting to a higher vibration, the part of us that's not aligned with that is beginning to release. And that was freaking painful. I wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting us to like be even more joyful, more enlightened, more at peace, more joyful. Everything is joyful twice, but you know what I mean? That much joyful. And so it was just intense. It was very intense. And then, okay, this is going even deeper in a rabbit hole, but I don't give a shit. I'll just be fully honest. I'm sharing this with the world, so I really don't. This is my level of freedom. I really don't give a fuck anymore because I understand what I really am about. So, you know how growing up, it's like our DNA is the one thing that we can't change. Like we're born with it, whatever it is. That's all bullshit, okay? Our DNA is constantly evolving. And as we evolve as humans, as we learn new lessons and experiences, and depending on the vibration that we choose to receive, our DNA continues to evolve and will match whatever that is. And so at this conference, these higher energy beings that are literal aliens can encode our DNA, can repair and evolve our DNA in a way that leaves our body so that a certain vibration is now more of our default than ever before. And so the first day they had two people on. Wendy Kennedy was one of the girls' named. That was a human that some council was channeling through her that put out, I'll go even further. I don't know if you know like light languages. It's pretty much a language that it looks kind of like sign language, just like blah, blah, blah. I don't fucking know it yet. I probably will soon. I'll download it and I'll know it immediately. But they were doing that on us for a little bit, and we can feel just like the trance of it. It was fucking crazy. It's like out of a fucking movie. I swear. Like I'm not making this shit up. No reason to fucking lie to you. But that was happening, and after that first day, understanding that they're telling us, hey, we're gonna, I forgot what was the phrase they use? Not encode your DNA, but activate certain parts of your DNA that is currently, was it defunct? There's, just like our mind, there's certain parts of our body that isn't activated. We're only like at 10 to 20% activated. They activate a little bit more. So then at 20%, I'm at 23% now, 25, whatever the fuck, I don't know what it is. But that's what I mean. And so as that activation was taking place, they need to release everything out of the body that doesn't align with that activation. And so we were like purging, cleansing, like to the maximum. And it was freaking rough. So that was absolutely crazy. But we went to that event, and there's one guy in particular that really spoke with me. I feel as if one guy, as in his name was Sean Swanson, just like a regular old healthy dude, gray hair, just loving guy. Looks like he's a triathlete or something like that. But he was channeling this alien that was all about unconditional love. That was all about realigning your life in a way that you are a projection constantly of integrity, of benevolence, of love, and how that is a vibration that will allow you to perceive every single thing that happens in your life through a lens of, how can I love this more? How can I help this person through this way in the most loving way possible? And that really, really resonated with me. And so, but thankfully, after the first day, it wasn't as draining. It was more just like, I can't take my eyes off you. This is wild, which is really good. It was a little bit better. But Elle and I, especially Elle, was just going through it, really going through it. There was one day where after the event, I felt as if there was part of my body that was like releasing. So like I was using the bathroom a lot, but also like my body just felt like it was like made out of lead. Like I couldn't move, which is just wild. But that's another thing. Anyways, this conference, I know if you're still with me and you don't think I'm absolutely insane and you haven't mentally checked out, that's fantastic. Because number one, that means you're open to it. Because a lot of people simply, and you'll see this oftentimes, there are certain concepts that are so true, that are so aligned with oneness, that people that are so not aligned with oneness, that live in the survival paradigm or close to it, they simply cannot conceive this. They don't have the capacity for it. Like their whole mind and body begins to shut down at the idea of these ideas. But at the idea of these concepts, of the possibility of this existing. And so if you're still with me, fantastic. That means on the spectrum of David Hawkins scale, you're at least probably above 300, to say the least. You're at least at willingness, to say the least. Acceptance, willingness. This is some like really crazy shit, but this is happening. I'm not fucking with you. Like I wouldn't make this shit up. So I'm at this thing, and I swear to you, like I can consciously understand most of it, but subconsciously, it feels like little tingles are happening in the top of my head, and my whole body just constantly throughout this whole conference was having a bodily reaction that was just absolutely crazy. But it wasn't like them opening me up and performing heart surgery by any means. It wasn't painful. It was just unique. It was very unique. It's like you can tell something's happening. And they let us know, like, hey, the guides that are constantly in your life, whatever it is, and their council of aliens will be working on our DNA as someone is speaking from stage. And so I could feel like legit, like tingling throughout my body, sensations going on definitely in the brain, but also around the heart area, that people were beings were upgrading whatever this infrastructure is for a very particular reason. Long story short, if you're still with me and are open to the idea that this is happening, I hope you'd be open to the idea that there are certain people, certain higher density souls that were once them, that were, higher density in, 4, 5, 7, 90, whatever it is, that realized, hey, shit's popping off on that floating rock, and it's actually going to have major effects on the universe if we don't actually go and help. And so there's a whole book about this called The Three Volunteers. Highly recommend you listening to or reading by Dolores Cannon. But there are certain density beings, aliens, that came down and volunteered to be a human, to forget everything that they remembered, that they know about the universe, to live a human experience, to have suffering, to have hatred, to have all these things that they once transcended and haven't experienced for probably eons, maybe, millions of years, just an inconceivable amount of time. They had to volunteer to go back to a lower density place in the 3D, like Earth, suffer pain, resolve it, remember, awaken, and then come back to enlightenment and help others through it. Rise other people through it so that everyone can match a certain vibration that matches where the Earth is going. If that makes sense. So even though they fully understand suffering, those higher density beings, they prefer it doesn't happen for us. And so they had volunteers, higher density beings, come down and live a somewhat normal life, but also they can't really be fully normal. They oftentimes look a little bit different or look a little alien, whatever it is. I've received a lot of clarity through examples and through people asking questions that are very much like me, that I'm one of those motherfuckers. I'm one of them. My soul, whatever it was, chose to have this human experience during this time, very pivotal time in human history, where it's like a fork in the road. Where do we want to go? Do we want destruction and death for everything, or do we want to awaken fully with the universe and whatever that might be? Let me say that again. Help others awaken to maintain a state of vibration and enlightenment. Enlightenment is just a certain vibration that matches with the earth, to allow earth to not only continue living, but for a new earth of just high vibrational people to exist. And those high vibrational people, what makes them high vibrational is like they don't hate, they don't steal, they don't cheat, they don't cause wars, they don't death and violence. And so they create almost like a heaven on earth, a new version of earth where it's only people that are like good vibes and good people, and that utilize the planet properly and make sure that the planet is safe and taken care of. And we develop a renewable energy source, a ecosystem of structures, of commuting, of commerce that is fair and equal for everyone. But you also, like, when you're high vibe, you don't need anything. And so all the materialistic shit just doesn't matter. It's like there's enough for everyone. We just need to get everyone on the same page, you know? And so that's what it really can be and will be. It's actually inevitable. It's just our own individual choice. We want to be a part of it. And there's forces at play. Don't want to get full into it here. I'll make full videos like in a very professional way about the darkness going on. There are entities at be that are purposely distracting us from this, right? And making sure people that say what I'm saying, people believe I'm insane, and that distracted to death, not allowed to meditate. They've made God something that you must have a middleman to. You must have a church. You must have a priest. That's the only way to talk to them, whatever it is. The only way to talk to source, whatever it may be. All that's bullshit. A lot of you guys are waking up to that, which is fantastic. That's a whole other story another time. But it's not a war we're fighting by any means into darkness. It is just a remembering that takes place, and the darkness just falls away. Because if you are fully empowered and you are fully enlightened, there's nothing the darkness can do to throw you off. And therefore it is powerless, and then you transcend it, and literally only good things happen to you after that, and you'll have everything you need. Your life is all about love. Only great people exist. It sounds fucking made up, and of course they made it that way, but like, we're not supposed to suffer. Let's get that very clear. We're not supposed to suffer on this planet. We've chosen to suffer. So I'll get off that high horse for now, but back to what I was saying. It gave me a lot of clarity that me just being weird my whole life, and me knowing I was different, and knowing I had like this yearning to serve others in a certain way, this foundation for personal development in a way that I've never seen before, in like this, and also like business, also sports, and just being around like regular people, like everything just makes sense. Everything just makes sense. It was all like perfectly curated for me to have this life, born to those parents, in that community, in that city, went to that college, had that job, met this person. It all makes sense because it has curated myself into the person necessary to make the impact, the service I'm supposed to make, as I volunteered for on this planet, to steer us back in the right direction. And I'm not alone. Now, one of the first volunteers, it's actually not really a good representative for that book, but other volunteers have been sent before, and those names were Jesus Christ and Buddha and a handful of other people, right? And they saw how they treated them. The earth was just not ready. It was a low vibration where anyone who had these ideas would be crucified, literally. And so they realized at this very pivotal point, 2,000 years later, that, okay, we got to put the fucking Avengers in there. And so they made people, not saying I'm of the same density or vibration of what Jesus was before he came down, whatever it was, but I'm saying there's like tens of thousands of us now that have been put down here that are all capable of doing what Jesus did. Not saying we're embodied, not saying we are Jesus, but capable of those same miracles, capable of that unconditional love, capable of leading billions of people towards the light. They put them all down and said, hey, we're going to stack the deck in our favor to make sure the earth is aligned with the right trajectory so that it matches the vibration a certain way before we friggin' destroy it, so that it reunites with the rest of the ecosystem of the universe so that nothing gets a little thrown off, because there are repercussions if things do. That's why, like, you'll see, kind of side note, you'll see like a lot of alien activity right after, and you can all Google this. Again, everything I say, you can freaking Google. And if you don't trust Google, unless it's DuckDuckGo, whatever the fuck browser you want to use. But whenever there has been a time where humans almost wrecked the Earth, that's when most alien activity happened. So right after the atomic bomb, when we learned that technology a lot faster than we were supposed to and used it in a lot different way than we were supposed to, just learn it at a lot higher vibration to be an energy source that would really revolutionize humanity. We learned that at a lower vibration, so we used it as a tool of war, right? And so that brought up a lot of like, oh shit, hey, volunteers, need y'all, who wants to go down there and fix this shit? That's me. And I'm not special, even though in the grand scheme of things, I am special. I have special gifts. I'll go on a different story there, but I'm not alone. Tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands, especially in my generation, past handful of generations, most of which are still living. People in their 50s, 60s, 30s, 40s, and then teens, 20s, all with unique gifts, all have different levels of people in them. My generation definitely has the most. And then the newest generation are going to have the most, even more than me, or my generation. But we sent a lot of volunteers that are going to be sped evenly and strategically around the world to help people remember these ideas, to remember the truth, to remember what's actually going on. And we're here to guide people through it. And how we do this is simply just remembering what we're here for and just allowing the universe to work for us. And so a lot of the business ideas I have, the gratitude community, the writings, the creation, the like legit, soon to be very big businesses that is just my path. That's why like, they program me to love finance and to love business and love all these other things. My path is to build big businesses, more than likely, that are, I'm open to that not being the case, but that's what it's been proven to me so far, that are revolutionize the way we look at commerce with other human beings, where service of others is the priority, where taking care of the environment is a priority, where making sure we leave every single person at a higher vibration than when we found them through our product or service is a priority. I'm here to help make that the thing, what's actually going on. And so that's a whole other story. Elle's here for a similar but also very different reason when it comes to gender dynamics and bringing back femininity in a way that's empowering and not just disempowering like it has been for the past handful of thousands of years, I guess. But not for everyone, but for most. We've been coerced into believing that. We have all a bunch of different missions, all a bunch of different methods, and I'll be given the right people at the right time through meditation, through mindfulness practices. I'll be told exactly what to do. Like the most recent business that I had a call attorney today to really set up, I channeled for 4 hours. It came through me. It was just an idea that I couldn't stop writing. It didn't even feel like my mind was through it. It wasn't through a whiteboard. It just like, it was fucking, it's out of a freaking movie, I swear. It's wild. But long story short, yeah, long story long. It's 33 minutes in right now. Nice. This weekend was freaking huge. And so it just reaffirmed that I'm a weirdo, and it makes sense why. I'm one of these volunteers, and my DNA has always been and will always be different. And even after this week, has been evolved to make sure that I am even more of a state of remembrance for this. This conference wasn't advertised anywhere. You had to go to a very specific website, specific times to sign up and be there. It knows. Again, this is the whole game. It really isn't what's made up in here. It's this. We're all just part of one big system that's being divinely orchestrated. And so naturally, just the right people showed up at the right time from all around the world there. I legit think of it as like an Avengers meeting. And not everyone is like tapped in, enlightened, and capable of building incredible businesses and incredible nonprofits and changing how we look at nature, how we look at human connection, all that. A lot of people there just were obsessed with UFOs and aliens, and you can just kind of tell that by like the questions they asked. Because every single channel had like a Q&A period where you can ask them literally anything, and they'll give you the most enlightened response ever. Just like wild, whether it's personal problems or like where does the sun come from or whatever. Like it is wild. Again, look up Bashar, Bashar. He's going popular on TikTok and Instagram Reels. They can't hide this shit anymore. Watch enough of his videos, you will also be convinced too. I swear, it's freaking crazy. I have similar gifts. I don't channel a certain alien by any means, but I am channeling. That's what I do, to help a lot of my clients heal whatever part of themselves they need. Oftentimes just, getting out of their own mind and head. But sometimes it is physical illnesses, because physical illnesses are all just within here, but that's a whole other concept that most people aren't ready for. Yeah. And so I'll develop my skills, and maybe one day I will be channeling some other higher entity and speaking for them on stage. Probably, honestly, but we'll see. My gifts are developing rapidly, and so is the other people that I know in this kind of ecosystem, because we're being given all the tools necessary to be the Avengers. Honestly, that's really what it is. And the darkness, their intentions are also the same or very similar to Thanos. So it's wild. It's wild when you look into it, all the movies. But all that being said, wow, I've talked your ear off 35 minutes in. I left this weekend feeling so clear, so unapologetic of who I am, of what my gifts are, because I've just reaffirmed by literal aliens who I am and what I'm here to do. And it's like no opinion of a friend, no opinion of a family member, no what is society. I don't give a shit anymore. Like truly. I hope all of you one day, and I think you will, hopefully, if you're watching this, be able to experience the level of freedom I feel, level of confidence and conviction I feel, and what's going to happen. And so it's inevitable that the earth is going to go into that. Earth is going to be saved. We're not going to ruin it. I don't believe so. There's nothing that I've seen or nothing they've told me that would make it believe so. But now it's just up to our own personal individual free will if you want to come with it or not. That being said, I'm here to guide people on that journey. Myself and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands are also here to do the same. A lot of people are still asleep. And even though they have these gifts, they've been coerced to have enough programming to keep them asleep, to keep them distracted constantly, to keep them sedated. I was just fortunate enough to awaken through just listening to the voice and bringing me all around the world to show me the light, show me the truth. But long story short, I keep on saying long story short, but it's a long story. That conference ends. I have more understanding of who I am than ever before. But also my body feels like a mess. It feels like it's wild. It's wild. A whole other thing on top of that, like my diet's going to be shifting a lot. And I was always like kind of hating on vegans and all that. I'm not going vegan by any means, but definitely less dense food. Nutrient dense food is a denser fuel for our bodies, and the more higher vibration you are, the less food we need and the lighter foods we want and desire. So I've always hated salads, but this week I'm like acai bowls, salad, maybe like a few eggs. That's it. It's wild. So like a lot of my life's changing with these new DNA upgrades and with the new vibration I've reached throughout this trip. Never thought I'd be saying that, but fuck it. I'm open-minded enough to change my ways. I'm not stuck into any certain ideology, because none of that exists. It's all bullshit. That's just mine. That's just the mind creating a box for us to feel safe to live in. But wow, I keep on going in tangents. As you can see, I'm going. Let me get some water real quick. Yeah, people back home think I'm going to be insane, but that's okay. I don't give a shit anymore. They'll understand in a few years. They'll understand. They won't have a choice. Yeah. So I was feeling wrecked, and I wanted to kind of, we extended the trip a day to just relax and just not have an agenda. But then like this morning after a shower, I'm like, I just want to go home. Let's head back to Vegas, then drop the car off, fly back to Austin, a day early, whatever it is. And I was just like, doesn't feel right. I feel like you're supposed to learn something here. And there's something important that's going to happen today. A few hours later, I was like, I really think we should get a massage or something. It's like, maybe Reiki massage. I'm like, okay, whatever. Those of you who don't know what Reiki is, I don't really fully know the definition, but it's basically people that are very skilled when it comes to energy and realigning the chakras within our body. And they either physically manipulate the body in a way to help us realign it and release whatever is being stored. Any energy that's not aligned with that vibration necessary to realign, to like release and store it. And she had a talking component to it and all those other things. So long story short, Elle was like, you got to go. I'm like, sounds good. And so we're getting back-to-back massages. Mine just finished. And man, when I say that changed my life, like that changed my life. It allowed for me to take on all the information that I either consciously picked up or subconsciously picked up this week through the channel panel here in Sedona. You can look it up if you want, the channel panel, Sedona, Arizona. All that information finally set within me. I was able to fully grasp it without my body going crazy. I've always had cramping a lot in my life, a lot of especially the right side of my body. And the Reiki practitioner really just like massaged it, but also told me why it was happening. And it was, of course, there's a certain relationship in my life that I wasn't fully embracing and loving. And legit, like, I don't cry that often, and I'm not like against crying. Like, I think crying's perfect and fantastic, and more people should do it. But she was like massaging, and it was painful. I started crying, and then I started just like speaking out the truth about my relationship with those people that was affecting this kind of bodily reaction I was having, the cramps, just the very lessened ability to be flexible, I guess you can call it. I was very inflexible the far majority of my life. But she was able to like guide me through the emotional release necessary to allow my body to be physically released. And I swear I never felt more calm, more relaxed, more just present than ever before. And that happened through me fully making peace that like my entire life I just wanted to be approved of by certain people. And just fully making peace with like, there's no such thing as approval. There's no person's opinion of you that is necessary for this human existence. It's okay for people to not understand and not agree. And even approval for yourself doesn't exist, because you don't need to be a certain way to approve yourself. You can just be. And all the quote unquote good things, all the quote unquote bad things, those don't really exist. And I've been teaching this for a long time. I understand this concept, and I feel as if I've felt and embodied most of it. I'd say 95% of that in my life, but I felt like today released, I don't want to say all of it, but the far majority of it, like the last 5%. It was just like this emotional release of like just loving the people that I've wanted the approval of, and loving myself despite their approval. And understanding that concept of approval doesn't even exist in within itself. It's just a societal construct that we need other people to like us for us to be okay and be safe and be worthy of love and survive and thrive. So I'll be going to Reiki a lot more often, but I say all that because that was an area of unfreedom. It was an area that was hindering my vibration from rising, that was worked out. And it felt like after a very confusing, very physically uncomfortable weekend, that 90-minute experience was like the conclusion. It was like the emotional release of just me just like sobbing and crying about many things, and literally seeing like the tension in my body, like the inflexibility of my body, the cramps that would happen, especially my right side of my body, just release, and me be like all of a sudden much more flexible than ever before. Just move my hips around and feet, whatever it was. I was like, oh my gosh. It felt like a new level up, a new vibration. I could finally embody what I had learned. There wasn't part of my body that was fighting it, that was detoxing rapidly. It's just like, it's all just there. So yeah, it's wild. I assume Elle is currently experiencing something incredible also. But that was just so needed. And releasing that also, now this is a huge part of it. Again, a whole other video series, but what we're releasing is fear. Fearing of what would happen if, we're not loved, or if we're not perfect, or if whatever it is. Because all the fear is just within the mind. If we create our own reality, and we're the ones choosing to play these fear games. All Jesus was a man who walked with no fear. And because of that, he was open and allowed and embraced the divine God, or the source, or whatever you want to call it, whatever word suits your head. He allowed that source to work through him, to perform miracles, to be unconditionally loving. And I feel as if I'm one step closer to that today. And when you allow life to just kind of take you where you're meant to go, and you stop, the mind movies in the way of, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta think about that, and just allow to do what feels right, to follow your highest excitement in every moment, to unconditionally love everyone to the highest extent, you'll be guided in a way in which you're constantly releasing everything that doesn't serve you. All the programs around hate, resentment, shame, guilt, other ways that you need to be, should be, could be, and just allow for yourself to just exist in the present moment and allow for whatever to come through you, whether it's creating an incredible product, service, or writing, or just creating an incredible experience of just sitting on a lawn chair watching the sunset. And so something's happening rapidly right now that the universe is preparing me for. And 2025 is going to be filled with a lot more attention. I mean, like legit fame that I've never experienced before. It's going to be filled with a lot of money, a lot of wealth that I've never experienced before, that no one I know has experienced before, made in a way that is more aligned than I've ever experienced before. And myself and a team of other people are going to set the new path for how humans communicate and how they coexist with each other. And these past handful of years have just been day after day of this wild goose chase. It feels like literally moving across the world and back, releasing the programs I've been taught that would get in the way of me facilitating these incredible experiences for humanity to help heal the world, truly. And I have no agenda. I don't need to heal anyone. I'm not here to save anyone. But just naturally, when I get out of my way, miracles will perform in front of my eyes, through me, through others. I need a water sip. Oh, dang. But yes, today feels like just a big step. That Reiki massage is huge. Just like me being able to fully allow everything that legit aliens were trying to share with me, to allow just to come in, fully embrace it. Yeah. I never thought I'd be saying that. I'll tell you that right now. It's batshit crazy. And for those of you that are crazy enough to be open to the idea that it happened, I'm here for it. Yeah, more unapologetically insane. And also, listen, let me put it this way. If you watch this and then go watch the mainstream news and drink alcohol and then watch football and then do kind of normie life, you're going to think I'm batshit crazy. If you, after this, meditate, breath work, mindfulness practices, just go for a long walk, and the extreme of that being like a Vipassana or like a 14-day meditation, you realize that this is the reality we're living in. If you made it this far, you're already open to it. Glad to hear. This is hard for even me to fully understand still, but this is just what's happened to me the past few handful of days. And so now I feel a newfound sense of clarity, of intentionality, of alignment, of unconditional love for myself, for others, of presence. And I feel ready. This is going to be a very important, pivotal year for humanity. Yeah, fuck it. I'll say it. Aliens, the idea of open contact, which is just pretty much undebatable, indisputable, aliens coming down and saying hello and working with humans, that's going to be happening within the next 5 years. Probably 2026. Depending on when we are ready. They'll come when we're of a vibration that matches their vibration. Doesn't have to match it, but in the range of their vibration, so that we be open enough to their ideas and wouldn't just, blow them to pieces like we probably would, even a few years ago. But I promise you, the world vibration, the collective vibration is rising. And despite how scary and terrible the news stories are getting, those are ran by the darkness. So they're not telling you the full truth. They're telling you the sort of truth. They always have been. They always will be. But people are getting nicer, kinder, more loving on the grand scale. And with the freedom of internet, with the freedom of other technology, with the freedom of Bitcoin, the freedom of other things, a lot of this will no longer be able to be hidden. And when people understand this and they can feel it to be true, that's when the world will change. And that progress is going to rapidly happen this year. Rapidly. So, glad I'm feeling much better now. I'm glad I'm feeling more embodied. I'm taking pretty much the rest of the week off just to chill. Get back to Austin, just recoup. And then it's time. No fear. How would you live your life if you had no fear? How big of quote-unquote risks would you take? What change would you make for the world? How big would you dream? And that's the journey of a lifetime. And that's something that I'm excited to be on. And I'm excited to lead others through. So how was your weekend? Yeah, it's wild. I know. It's crazy. By the way, I've had eczema my entire life. It is now rapidly healing. This is so much better than it ever was before. This is only part of my body. At a certain vibration, your body just heals very fast. And so everything's just, it's wild. That's a different video, but yeah. The future looks bright, y'all. Truly. I'm not telling you to change your beliefs. I'm not telling you to believe what I believe. I'm not telling you to be anything. Just all I implore you to do through personal experience is to be open to the idea of becoming more of who you are. And what I mean by that is listening to yourself, trusting yourself, loving yourself more than you do currently. And that will guide you on this path. That will guide you to the answers that you're seeking. And you may come across the same answers that I've come across, or not. Or probably some similarities. Putting that out there. I don't know if you believe fully the channel and aliens, and that may take some time. That's okay. Until it's impossible not to believe. But okay, back to open contact. Next handful of years, they will promote, they will give us answers to newfound ways of producing energy, ways of communicating, telepathy, all those other things that dramatically revolutionize humanity for the better. And I want you to know that we're on a good path. We're going to be okay. And the more you feel into that, and the more space you allow yourself to just be, you'll come to that same realization. So that's it for me. I want you to know that I'm feeling happier, genuinely happier than ever before. Some of you will say crazier than ever before. Some of you say more enlightened than ever before. Healthier than ever before. My body's currently cleansing, shedding next handful of days. No doubt that everything's going to be literally better than ever. And it's literally a software update going on. Not only software, but hardware. And yeah, just, if you made it this far, 54 minutes in, 55 minutes in, I swear, nothing is a coincidence. It's all synchronicity. You tune into this for a reason. And it's time. The future is very bright. The future is beautiful. Truly, man, truly. And I'm very glad to see that you're open to it. Now's the time. Now's the time. For whatever it is that's on your mind, now's the time. Yeah. I unconditionally love you all, truly. And I'll see you soon.